The desolation of Spa. No plan, no backup, no choice. Mission impossible, Ghost Protocol. The fight for our freedom begins. Transformers, Dark of the Moon.
Hello, I'm Carol Kidu Jr. with the Midday News. The 7th Melanesian Arts and Culture Festival in Port Vila, Vanuatu witnessed an extraordinary display of talent and cultural richness as Papua New Guinea's cultural ambassadors left the audience in awe. Led by PNG's Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture, E.C. Henry Leonard, the delegation presented 3 pigs as a gesture of appreciation during the traditional welcome ritual. The crowd was treated to captivating performances, including a bamboo band and diverse dance patterns from various regions of PNG, leaving a lasting impression of Melanesian unity and creativity. As the festival continues, expectations are high for more mesmerizing showcases of the region's cultural heritage. Prime Minister James Marape has announced in a press release on Monday that the National Security Council has approved a task force to investigate how Bank of PNG and Puma Energy Limited cannot resolve issues pertaining to Forex and Puma's businesses. This comes after the PM entrusted Deputy Prime Minister John Rosso and Treasurer Ian Stuckey with the responsibility of resolving the ongoing issue between the concerned parties, with no permanent solution reached to date.
The unresolved issue pertaining to foreign currency and rationing of fuel has led to the approval of a task force to investigate how the Bank of Papua New Guinea and Puma Energy cannot reach a resolution. Prime Minister James Marape said the National Security Advisory Committee convened on Friday, July 21, 2023, and recommended that the Minister for Petroleum and Energy, Kerengakua, utilize his powers to compel both Puma and BPNG to ensure fuel supply. Also, that the task force comprising representatives from Treasury, Bank of PNG, Financial Analysis and Supervision Unit, Internal Revenue Commission, Customs, Department of Petroleum and Energy, and 2 independent forensic audit firms investigate the allegations of money laundering by Puma, as the BPNG board lacks sufficient information to address the issue effectively. PM Marape said he has assigned Deputy Prime Minister John Rosso and Treasurer Ian Stuckey to address this matter. He thanked them for having a temporary solution in place while potential long-term solutions are under consideration. Salome Vincent, TVWAN News.
East New Britain's health sector, through the Provincial Health Authority, is incorporating programs targeting the 300-plus wards in the province. The programs will ride on the East New Britain Provincial Government's ward-focused policy. Cinevit of Pomio District is one LLG that is doing its part to upskill the ward development committees through their respective sector subcommittees. The training upskills the chairpersons of the health committees under the WDCs on their roles under the sector and how to conduct their programs, such as family household inspections. After the 3 days of training, the participants went out to do their practical sessions, armed with 2 checklists provided by the trainers to inspect individual family homes and also do a general community health inspection of the ward. In regional news, the aged care sector has been left carrying an estimated $500 million of debt due to delays in the payment of COVID grants. The grants were introduced at the start of the pandemic to cover the additional cost of dealing with coronavirus outbreaks in aged care.
Ashfield Baptist Homes here in Sydney expects to post a loss this year for the first time in its 92-year history. The home is still waiting on the payment of almost $500,000 in COVID grants. Now, at the beginning of the pandemic, care homes like this one were promised by the federal government that they would be reimbursed for any additional costs. Those costs include extra staffing that would have to be brought on and PPE and infection control measures. Now, sometimes a year later, they're still waiting for those grants to be paid, and they're saying that having to carry that debt is putting pressure on smaller operators.
And there have been numbers of instances, Wesley Mission being one, just closing the doors and saying we're not going to participate in the residential aged care space anymore.
The federal government says it can't give a figure for the total amount of outstanding claims for COVID grants, but we do know back in March the figure they provided was $570 million. Now, the aged care sector says that while some of those claims will have been repaid, they estimate that the total outstanding is still $500 million.
We understand there has to be a process. This is public money. The government has to do its due diligence, make sure people aren't claiming for things they shouldn't, but ultimately that money should still be flowing much faster.
The delays come at a time when the sector is already dealing with additional costs as a result of reforms that have come out of the Royal Commission into aged care. They include a 15% pay rise for the lowest paid workers that came into effect this month. Plus, there's now a requirement to have a registered nurse on duty around the clock. The latest financial snapshot shows that 54% of homes are operating at a loss. 36 have closed in the past year. A spokesperson for Federal Aged Care Minister Annika Wells said extra staff are being brought on to deal with the backlog of claims, and that priority is being given to homes known to be in significant financial distress.
A woman injured in a crash more than 6 years ago is calling for changes to the Northern Territory's Motor Accidents Compensation Scheme, saying delays in the process worsened her injury. The Motor Accidents Compensation Commission says while it continuously works to improve its policies and procedures, the benefit scheme is designed to help.
Need the scar on her neck to remind her of the life-changing car crash she survived in 2017. She lives with the consequences every day.
I'm not the same person I was before the accident. I was very happy-go-lucky and outgoing. As a result of the car accident, I've sort of become a little bit of a recluse, I suppose you say.
She'd been driving along Darwin's Stewart Highway in early 2017 when she says she drove over concrete bollards to avoid a merging car. It left her with injuries including spinal damage and post-traumatic stress disorder. The NT's Motor Accidents Compensation Scheme pays people injured in a vehicle registered in the Territory, no matter who's at fault. But it was more than 12 months before the Commission agreed to pay for the surgery Ms Dodge was recommended, raising questions for her about how quickly it deals with claims.
I think I would have had a bit more of a chance at returning to work and having some sort of normal life back if I had had the surgery sooner, definitely.
Ms Dodge says the payments are also not enough and she's been left priced out of Darwin's rental market. Now couch surfing in Melbourne, she wants to receive her money in a lump sum so she's more in control. Her lawyer says her case isn't isolated and the system needs to be overhauled to better and more quickly serve crash victims.
For example, there's no timeframes around initial decision making for new claims. There's no timeframes around responding to requests for settlement.
In its most recent annual report, the Commission says it has a target of providing an initial decision for 70% of cases within 20 days. It also shows nearly 2/3 of claims receive full benefits. The Compensation Commission says it can't comment on individual cases for privacy reasons, but it's continuously working to improve its policies and procedures. It points out, though, that it has to strike the balance between the scope of cover and remaining affordable to motorists.
The government has ambitious plans to escalate palm oil production through enhanced collaboration and equity participation of all stakeholders in the palm oil industry. Kepsen Pupita, General Secretary for Oil Palm Industry Corporation, made this announcement during his address at the Council of Palm Oil Producing Countries International Smallholders workshop held in Melaka, Malaysia. He said the PNG Medium-Term Development Plan for 2023 to 2027 spearheads this initiative aimed at fostering sustainable growth and development. By 2027, Papua New Guinea envisions achieving the following targets, including oil palm planting by 200,000 hectares and engaging 50,000 households in cultivating oil palm. Pupita said palm oil is vital agricultural export for PNG, generating an average of 1.7 billion kina in export revenue per year from 2018 to 2022. Over the last 3 decades, it has generated 24 billion kina in export revenue. To achieve the projected increase in production, PNG aims to involve more smallholder growers in the industry. Advocates are calling for improved facilities in one of South Australia's tourist hotspots. Port Adelaide has only 2 operational public toilets more than a kilometre apart, and one of them isn't available 24/7. Candice Prosser reporting.
To the port. Like many who visit or work in the heritage waterfront precinct, he's found it to be lacking in one very key area.
There's only 2 public bathrooms in all of Port Adelaide, one right here, another one 1 kilometre away. The port is getting busier, more and more people are coming here, but the facilities and the bathrooms are not growing and improving.
The only operational public bathroom in the main business district is hidden behind the Visitor Information Centre, and it's locked after hours.
Lucky for me, I can wheel back to my building, which is still about a 600-metre push, so it's still quite a far distance. So, yeah, people just need bathrooms in this local area.
He started a campaign to get more toilets in the port, including modern, accessible facilities.
Let's work towards better bathrooms in PAE so everyone has a place to pee.
I think it's a bit crazy that you have to walk a K just to go to the toilet.
It's crazy, yeah. It must be frustrating for everybody, yeah, especially tourists.
And it's not just in Port Adelaide where people are struggling to find somewhere to go. Researchers say it's a widespread problem that's often worse in lower socio-economic areas, and it's usually the elderly or those with disabilities who are most impacted.
Many of them mentioned the fact that there were no public toilets in their area, and that made it difficult for them to plan to go out for more than an hour or so.
The council says building and managing public toilets is expensive. It spends $11,000 a year per toilet just fixing vandalism. The council says there's also a lack of available space to build new facilities in the port, and it's looking into some creative solutions. It's due to update its public toilet plan next year.
Back home, Theodis Limited successfully concluded its 2023 on-the-job training program, where 13 students from 2 schools in the National Capital District participated. 6 students from Don Bosco Technical College received training in the printing department and IT and Service Centre team, while 7 students from IEA College of TAFE were placed in the Human Resources and Administration Department and Purchasing and Procurement team. The program aims to bridge the gap between classroom learning and real-world application, empowering students with essential skills and knowledge for their future careers. It was a proud and momentous occasion for former PNG Barramundi player Kopi Jr. as he had the incredible opportunity to witness the ICC T20 World Cup trophy being brought to Gomora village in Rigo Central Province for tour last Thursday, July 20. As someone who previously played for the PNG Barramundis, Kopi understands the impact that such a prestigious trophy can have on young cricketers and their dreams of rising to the international stage. Kopi was flown in from Lae Morabit Province to witness the trophy tour, privilege he will cherish for a long time. On final lap of first-round matches in the ICC T20 Cricket World Cup Qualifier EAP, the 2 undefeated teams will face off in a battle to lead the tournament at 1:30 this afternoon. Kumul Petroleum, PNG Barramundis and Japan registered 2 wins each against fellow counterparts, Philippines and Vanuatu. who have yet to win a match. Both teams will be up to grab a win against each other. With their chances of leading the race into second round of matches of the tournament, PNG and Japan will prove their credentials on the pitch today to see who is worthy of representing the East Asia Pacific region in the T20 World Cup. The match is shaping up to be the best for the tournament so far. It holds greater significance for both teams in their quest to qualify. The match gets underway at the Amini Cricket Ground in Port Moresby. And that's the midday news. We'll have more at 6 p.m.